You know what everybody needs? Oxygen. You know what else they need? Ocugen. Or do they? I don't know. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Stock Advantage. My name is Darren, and today we're going to break down Ocugen, or OCGN. Very popular stock lately in the biopharma realm. And so we're going to talk about what's going on with it, why it's had the big price jump that it has, which obviously has most people talking about it. Is it at the end of the road, or is there more opportunity? So I'm going to go into some of the details. So stick around for the end for my price targets and predictions, and see if you agree with that. And as always, do your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor, but I just want to give my opinion on it. So let's jump right into it. First off, what does Ocugen do? So it's a biopharma and therapeutics company that does research on gene therapy. But that's not the reason why it's popped lately. Between December and now, it has grown quite a lot for a different reason. So the latest pop actually happened this past Friday when it jumped 60% on Friday. After it announced Tuesday it would enter a partnership with Bharat Biotech, who has a COVID-19 vaccine. And so they've actually partnered with Ocugen for Ocugen to bring that to the U.S. and get approval, marketing, all that good stuff. The product name is Covaxin. It's a notable newcomer in the vaccine conversation because Bharat believes it may also be effective in the new strand that has popped up in the UK. A couple things are different here. This vaccine can be stored at room temperature, so it doesn't require the ultra cold refrigerators associated with the other vaccines that are currently out there in the market. So this deal between Ocugen and Bharat was actually announced in December, which correlates with the major jump. Prior to December 22nd, this stock was at 29 cents a share. And so it closed Friday at 5 something. And then at the end of the after hours, it had gotten up to 8.64, I believe. So it's been quite a run. So a couple things to note here. So Ocugen is only having the U.S. rights to this vaccine. They're responsible for development, regulation, and commercialization in the marketplace. Again, only for the U.S. And in return for that service, they get to retain 45% of the profit from the U.S. market. So this is not a company just starting, like Pfizer or AstraZeneca, who's got their own vaccine, and they've got all of it. They get to keep all the profits. Keep this in mind. As big as this vaccine is and could be, they are only going to get 45% of the U.S. market money that comes from it. So we need to talk about a risk that is out there. So it was granted emergency use authorization in India before the phase 3 trials were complete. But the vaccine showed enough promise in trials 1 and 2 that the Indian government granted that authorization. It has not been approved yet in the U.S., and that's where Ocugen is going to try to take it next. So let's talk a little bit about price action. All right, let's talk about what got us to this point, where I see the price target for the short term as well as the price target for the long term. So if you look at the 3-month chart of Ocugen, it's had several run up over the last few months. As of December 21st, it was at 29 cents a share prior to the partnership announcement. And then after market close, it got up to $8.62. That is the increase of up to 2,900%, or almost 2,900%. So that's pretty outrageous. So once again, a lot of people don't see this. Stocks don't gain traction until they show up on the biggest runner of the day page. And so that's where a lot of investors are coming in thinking, oh, wow, is this thing about to take off? It's kind of already taken off. But that doesn't mean it's done yet. So let's talk about the price target for this week, because I know a lot of investors at the end of the market on Friday, they jotted this one down as soon as market opens on Monday, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be living on a yacht, on my spaceship in Saturn or at Saturn, maybe one of the rings, or is that Jupiter? I don't know. But anyways, that's what people were kind of thinking. So I want to make sure to caution you that stocks don't always go up. All right, so as you can see on the chart here, usually after a big run, this stock tends to cool off, just as a lot of other stocks. You have a big hype, a big news, a big catalyst that comes out, and that'll create the avenue for the stock to shoot up. But usually after that, when it jumps 40, 50, 60%, you're going to have a cool down period because a lot of people are taking their profits and they're not sure if it's going to withhold that price, and so they take their profits and they go home. Not a bad plan. But what that does is that sometimes leaves new investors who are just getting into it holding a big bag, and I do not want that to happen for you. So let's look at this chart. So after that big run up, the last couple times it has cooled back off. So if you look at this last one, the RSI, which you can see at the bottom here, the market close on Friday was 86 out of 100. All right, average is a 50. Usually between 30 and 70 is kind of your range. Anything above 70 starts getting to that overbought territory. And so this one closed at 86. And that was even not counting the $3 run up after hours. And so this one could be an RSI close to 100, right? So that's just the relative strength index. So it's showing overbought on both the RSI and the MACD. So if you flip all the way back to December when it first started with the partnership, the same situation happened. RSI, MACD got overbought. The stock ran up a bunch during that period, and then it cooled back off as people took profits. So I anticipate this week for a healthy profit to be taken. I don't know if it's going to happen Monday morning or Tuesday morning, but at some point, I think Monday morning you may have a new investors flood in and buy thinking it's going to go to the moon. But you'll also have a lot of people who are going to take their profits on Monday morning after that after hours run up on Friday. And so I anticipate either Monday or Tuesday for the stock to take a pretty good dip. Maybe even back down to the $4 or $5 area, right? So that's pretty significant. It may not get that low, but just be prepared for that because it is a potential. And then I think throughout this week, it'll try to find a bottom. It'll find some support, maybe in that $5 to $6 range. If we're lucky, it'll stay in the 7. I do not anticipate that it'll hold that 864 range. Unless, and this is the caveat, a bunch of new investors come in and start floating that baby up. Propping it up with just some retail money. That could happen, but I think the likelihood is that you'll have a lot of profits being taken, and it'll drift in that $4 to $6, maybe even $7 range most of this week, which is not a bad thing. You want it to find a good base, a good support level, and get ready for the next run up. All right, so going from that, so that's the short-term price target. I would say, if it drops and has a pretty good drop to $4 or $5 a share, and it looks like a good opportunity, that's when I would get in. I would take pause first thing Monday morning and just kind of gauge and see where the stock's going to go. Don't jump in just because you think it's going to go to the moon on Monday. Wait for it, see what's going to happen. Don't rush into it. Usually stocks will start real high on a Monday morning and then they'll fall off to where they're really going to trade. So just watch out for that. As far as the long-term price target, so the demand is going to be huge in India, right? But Ocugen doesn't have that piece of the business. If the effectiveness is proven in that large market, I think the FDA for the U.S. Will likely grant that EUA in the U.S. market. So given it's a far easier vaccine for storage and transportation, I think the demand, if approved, will be a lot higher. Some people will bring up that it's valued at less than $500 million. When its counterparts like AstraZeneca and BioNTech have a $20+ billion valuation. That's all fine and dandy, but those have been proven. Those are already kind of out there, and they've got their AstraZeneca. This is the vaccine is not their first rodeo, right? They've been established. They've done other things, so it's kind of hard to compare that. Also, keep in mind that they have a portion of the U.S. market. It's not that vaccine's entire market like the other ones have. So be careful when people start to make those comparisons. As far as the long-term price target, I can't give a sure answer until you get approvals, right? Because if it doesn't get approvals, it's not going anywhere. So if it gets approvals and it gets them quick, and then it's proven effective, I think that this stock could jump to the $15 to $25 range rather quickly. Again, it's going to be partially built up on hype. If it gets U.S. approval, I could see the stock doubling instantly. But I think if it does get approved, it could go to $15 to $25 range fairly quickly. Very good opportunity here. Be careful. I'm not saying this is going to go to 15 to 25. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment purposes only. And just what I'm seeing, I see that potential of it between effectiveness and hype to get to the $15 to $25 range if it's given U.S. approval. That's the key. If it's denied approval, it will just as quick go back down to a $1 or $2 stock. So be extra cautious, right? It's invest carefully on this one. Don't go in blind thinking it can only go up, right? This is still referred to as a penny stock. It's still in that penny stock category with that $500 million valuation. So with that said, you can just as easily lose 50% on it as gain 100, right? So make sure that you're taking that into account when you're weighing out your risk versus reward. Don't put your whole account into it, anything like that. Make sure you do your due diligence to see if the risk versus reward ratio lines up and if you believe it's going to go. I just wanted to give my opinion on that. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I want to make sure that they understand that it's a portion of the U.S. market that they're going after, and they don't have approval yet, right? They've just signed the partnership to try to get approval in the U.S. So keep that in mind and as you go forward. Well, that's going to be pretty much it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like on it, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date. And then in yesterday's video, I had a lot of people comment tickers that they would like me to review and do some research on. So again, I'll present that out there. If you have a ticker or a stock that you want me to look into and do a little research and maybe present a video on it, then go ahead and put that in the comments down below. And until next time, have a great day and God bless.